Good morning, Las Vegas. This is Bryan Watkins coming again at you right now at the Las Vegas Tribune Radio, and this is another show of Procedural Law and Justice by Bryan Watkins. Now, I made some videos. I've been on Facebook. Obviously, I've been on YouTube, not as much. I want to get my YouTube channel back up, and some people get the name spelling confused because my name is rarely spelled this way, but it's Bryon. Bryan Watkins on Facebook, also in Las Vegas, Nevada. I made some videos, a lot of videos on criminal law. That's my specialty. Now, a lot of you all, I know you all have heard this before. People ask you, well, how do you know this law and that law? How do you know this and that? You never went to law school. Let me explain something to you all. First of all, and I'll say this, because when people compare these two, I always want to think to myself, no, I don't always want to. I do. But I always want to say sometimes, which I have done recently, because I'm so blunt, you must be a new kind of stupid. When you compare a law license with a medical license, they don't even come close to comparison. Here's a law license, right here. Here's a medical license. They don't compare. And number two, there's no such thing as a law license. That never existed. That was just one of many myths that was spread throughout the world, and it caught on, it caught ground, and people just assumed that there was a law license. No, there's not a law license. There's no such thing as a law license. It's a bar card. Bar card and law license are two different things, totally different, not even on the same realm. So, and how do I know that? Because the Supreme Court, federal courts have said that on many occasions. So, when you hear law license, ask an attorney, okay, let me see a law license. They don't have it. They can't produce it because it doesn't exist. Furthermore, and then people, this is the other funny part, well, if you didn't go to law school, how do you know so much about laws? Well, there are hands, they're called hands, okay. There are eyes, they're called eyes. Okay. I have feet, okay. I take my feet, I walk to a law library, I take my feet, I walk to an ordinary library, pick up books with my hands, use my eyes, and I read. The end. That's how. So when people ask that question, I used to think to myself, and then recently I would ask them blunt and flat out things like, are you that freaking stupid, or are you that dumb, or I would say my favorite thing I say nowadays is, I can't believe God gave you oxygen. And I'm serious, because there's no such thing as a stupid question, which to me is another myth. There are stupid questions. There are. Because when people ask that, I just get at a loss of words. I really do. Because you can't think outside the box to educate yourself. Some of the greatest leaders in the past educated themselves reading some very difficult textual books that even law professors cannot discern. Hell, the Bill of Rights written by James Madison Jr., you never went to law school, he has some law training, but not, no law school. Attorneys today, they can't even discern the Bill of Rights. Hell, a lot of attorneys never even knew that every state had its own constitution, nor why. And how much money did they spend in law school? $70,000, $80,000, $100,000? Good luck with that. You're going to need all the luck you're going to get. Now, I want to talk about law school a little bit now. I've said this before, so I need to reiterate this and repeat this part. Some parts I repeat because I get. Before I forget, if you want to call in, the number is 702-983-0711. It's 702-983-0711. Now, I did some research on law schools and what they teach in law schools, and I devised the rules as though I was going to go to law school. I was supposed to quite a few different law schools just to get extract information as to what they taught, what do they teach there, what the students are taught. Most of them don't even teach the Constitution. A lot of them, they only teach the Constitution for one semester. And others, it's an elective. It's a choice. See, in order to comprehend the true laws of this land, you have to understand and comprehend very well what guides them. That's the Constitution. Well, ask yourself, if that's fact, and it is fact, unless you change your status, and I'll talk about status change and all that in the future, because that is a whole new enormous education that most don't know about, and it's going to blow your mind once you get to learn that, but that's a different discussion at a later date. In the meantime, back to the Constitution. That is the foundation, that is the core of what they do in these courts. And by the way, these courts that you see around our country, they're not really courts, they're really federal corporations. I'll explain that in another video later. So there's a whole lot they do not teach you about the true laws that they are actually enforcing in those courts. And the only laws they're actually enforcing in those courts, they're not really laws, they're de facto codes. Under title, they're pushing off on us commercial acts. Title 27, CFR Code 72.11, but they'll never admit that. But it's already been a proven fact. It's on record. It's on historical documents. Most attorneys don't know this, and the paralegal, forget about it. They have no clue. You gotta understand something, people. They go into these schools, they sit down, get all these books. It's given to them. It's fed to them. Do you honestly believe that they're being fed the whole truth about whatever subject matter they're being taught? No, they're not. They are not. So, back to the Constitution. In order, well, let me say this, because, I'll say that in a second, but the Constitution, like I was saying before, that is the foundation of everything that goes on. That must be followed first. But then I know now I'm going to go to what I was about to say a second ago. Now I'm going to go to, because people get this wrong too, people don't know what the hell they're talking about. They just repeat what Joe Schmo repeated, which is what I call, which is what the term is called parody. You're just parroting what somebody else said, which you have no knowledge of whatsoever. You have no foundational core education about it whatsoever. And you can't cite me not one citation about what you're talking about whatsoever. So when people say, well, Bryan, we have states' rights so we can enforce any kind of laws and blah, blah, blah. That's where you're wrong. That's where you're 100% wrong. Wrong off the rip. Just even thinking that way, you're already wrong. Here's why. And I said this before in one of my shows here, I think 2 or 3 weeks ago, but some things needs to be repeated because I've been hearing that I'm getting listeners. So, the short version, when the United States was being erected, the core started with the United States Constitution from Washington, D.C. So, after the states gained their independence from Britain, so they thought, which they really did not, but I'll explain that in another video because that's another part of the history that you all must comprehend well to really understand why these laws, ordinances, and stuff are really the way that they are. Different discussion at a later date. But in the meantime, for argument's sake, let's just stick to the basics. Now, when the colonies gained their independence and became states, the United States government told each state, okay, you can make and erect your own constitution. But under the Paramount Allegiance Clause, which is in our state constitution in Nevada, you cannot, your language, the textual language in your state constitutions cannot supersede the textual language in the federal constitution. See, I give you a perfect example. The Fourth Amendment is about search and seizure. Well, in the Nevada State Constitution, Article 1, Declaration of Rights, Section 18, I believe it is, that too is about search and seizure. 2 different titles, the titles are different, but the textual language is the same. The textual language that's within whatever you are reading, that is the driving force of whatever it is you're trying to accomplish. The title of it doesn't mean a damn thing. But the point being is this. The state constitutions, and this goes for all of them, they cannot supersede what the federal Constitution says. For example, in the federal Constitution, they have the right to declare war, taxation, monitor commerce, erect post offices, take over major roles throughout the country, and so forth and so on. The United States Constitution says the federal government can do that. States cannot do that. They don't have that power. That's why the federal Constitution told the states, hey, erect your state constitutions, but they have to mirror the federal Constitution. And in the 10th Amendment, that's why I wrote the 10th Amendment, what is not delegated to the federal government belongs to the states or to the people. So, for example, like I just said, this go on erecting post offices and declaring war. The federal government can do that. States can't do that. That's why that's not in the state constitution. What's also has to be written in the state constitution. It has to be written that they cannot erect the federal constitution. I mean, excuse me, erect. Sorry, sorry about that. They cannot abridge the federal constitution. So see, and this stuff may sound like it's difficult to comprehend. It's not. When I started reading it at first, it was easy for me off the rip. Oh, and by the way, I highly suggest you all not only start to read laws and the historical foundation of them so you can know, well, what the hell is going on and you know how to defend yourself, but it also increases your reading comprehension exponentially. It does. It does. Some court cases, even some top judges have to read different cases or situations or what have you 2 or 3 times over to really comprehend. Some are really difficult, but do it anyway. It's challenging and it's fun. I used to hate reading. I used to hate it. Until I got unlawfully arrested and I dove into reading laws, I can't get enough of it. I wish that was my job. But anyway, back to the constitutions. Yeah, the states cannot erect the federal, just like they cannot erect federal court case decisions. I'll get more into that later. But it's very imperative that you understand and comprehend very well about states' rights, because people always get that confused. And then people are asking, well, how do you know that, Bryan? Are you political science graduate or major? Well, the answer to that is no and yes. I'm not a graduate, but I am. That is one of my majors. But I started reading about political science before I even thought about going back to college. The main reason I went back to college was, one, so my daughter could see her father doing it at my age and working. Number 2, I want to know what they're not teaching in like law schools and regular universities and high schools. So I'm also working on a book. It's called The Lies, Deceit, and Deception in the American Just Us System. And that will be followed up by The Lies, Deceit, and Deception in the American Education System. I've already trademarked them, so forget about trying to take them. But anyway, you all need to know what the heck is going on with the laws, because even law enforcement, lawmakers, they violate the laws all of the time. And they do it right under your nose. And you don't have no idea what the heck's going on. You don't know what to look for. It happened to me too. But now that I know what to look for, and I'm about to get into that, you can't fool me. You can fool some of the people some of the time, but you cannot fool all the people all of the time. You can't fool me no more. Those days are over. Gone. Kaput. Out of there. Only you try to fool me or can't fool me if you manufactured up something so false overnight and I just happen to miss it or whatever, or you manufacture some false affidavit or a false warrant or something to that effect. Yeah, maybe. But other than that, not going to happen. So, with that said, let me, and I also encourage you all to read scholarly reports by one law professor at George Washington Law School, named Orrin S. Kerr, I think his name is, Orrinsker, Kerr. He's a good author. Another one, Stuart P. Green, another good author. You want to read scholarly reports, the Federalist Papers, and the Constitution, so you know how they are all connected. For example, This one by Stuart P. Green. I love this one because it's taught me very well how to catch judges, and they do lie a lot too from the bench, believe it or not. Cops and attorneys know how to catch them in lies, how to catch them in perjury, how to catch them in deception, which is the same thing as a lie. Now, the title of this is called, this scholarly report, the title is called Lying, Misleading, and Falsely Denying: How Moral Concepts Inform the Law of Perjury, Fraud, and False Statements by Stuart P. Green. It's a good read. Now, let me read to you something about, because people still don't get this part, about the laws, how the laws that they enforce and stuff like that. Let me read you a list. These are called, in Latin, it's called malum prohibitum. They're just prohibited, but they're not a law. Now, when you hear that, some people say, well, what's the difference? Well, I'm about to tell you. Things like no seatbelt, jaywalking, no fishing license, cannot post a for sale sign on your car while it's parked. I got a ticket for that years ago in California. Yeah, seriously. You know, you put a for sale sign on your car, well, I got a $200-something ticket for that. Obstructing the driver's view, riding a bike on the sidewalk, driving 5 or even 10 miles over the speed limit on a freeway, loitering, color of lamps on your car, window tint, things like that. Those are not laws. Those are what's called malum prohibitum. They're just saying it's prohibited. And they're saying it's prohibited because it has a potential for danger. Maybe. That's what that really means. If you read more into malum prohibitum, M-A-L-U-M, 2 different words, P-R-O-H-I-B-I-T-U-M, it doesn't mean what you think it means. For example, no seatbelt. It's prohibited for you to not wear it in the event it could save your life. Now, the state legislature, do they honestly care about you saving your life? That's debatable. Some of them may care, some don't. But it's all about money. It's all about money. I've known people in my life who never wore seatbelts throughout their entire many years of driving, never got to hurt. One I knew got to an accident, but nothing ever happened to him. Nothing. So, is it really a fact that seatbelts saves lives? It can. But it's not really a law. It's just prohibited for you not to not wear it. They're saying, well, you should wear it. Let's talk about jaywalking. That's prohibited because of the potential threat. Well, let me say this also. I want to see, which you're not going to be able to prove to me because I've looked it up a lot and I have not found any yet. I want to see the historical documents, the research that actually says that these malum prohibitums that they like to call law actually prevents things. I want to see that. And I want to see the statistics on it. They're not going to be what you think. They're not going to be what that you were led to believe. It's all about generating. Oh, you jaywalk, you broke a law. Here's a ticket, $200 fine. It's all about money, baby. That's it. And police are not supposed to be doing that, but they don't know that because why? They're just told what to do. They're order takers. They take orders and go on. See, knowing what I know about me personally, knowing what I know about the laws now, if I were to go into the police academy, graduate, say I'm cruising with my partner, with my FT or my field training officer. That's like a year. Some states is 18 months. Some are 6. But anyway. And we see a jaywalker. They say, okay, Officer Watkins, you have to stop that guy. He's jaywalking. Well, why? Well, he's breaking the law. Actually, no, he's not breaking the law. I'll say that again. He's not breaking the law. I'll get to that in a second. Jaywalking, if, say, for example, I'm looking out the window right now, I just walk across the street. Well, you jaywalk. Okay, did I harm anybody? Did I put anybody in harm's way? Did I incite a riot? Did I cause or make a direct threat to someone's life or livelihood? No, I just walked across the street. People do it all the time. And see, the thing is this. You have to use judgment on anything. I don't care what it is. whether or not some kind of a law is erected or not, anyone with a half a brain is going to know darn well they're going to walk across the street while not trying to impede traffic, and sure as hell don't want to get hit by a 2,000 pound, 3,000 pound plus bullet, which is a vehicle, which is technically a bullet. So you think they're going to purposely walk across the street and try to cause something? No one's going to do that unless you're crazy. And if you do that because you're crazy, again, no law is going to stop that from happening. No malum prohibitum is going to stop that from happening. They're going to do it anyway. It's all about good judgment. Even when you're driving in a car, handling a firearm, being in charge of a platoon in the Marine Corps, whatever. It's all about good judgment. These so-called laws and statutes, they're only erected because they're going to tell you what the penalties are in the event of whatever. But again, some things, so I got to keep track of time, that are erected that are actually not supposed to be enforced in the first place are things like I just told you. Because that is no direct threat to society whatsoever. And I'll say that again. That is no direct threat to society whatsoever. It's just a malum prohibitum. Some crooked politician got together one day. This happened around the 1930s, by the way. You know what? We can make a lot of money off this, this, and this. And they use us, people, chattel property. We're debt slaves. Look that up. It's designed that way. But the average person don't know this. They don't know how to fight against it. You tell them, here's a ticket, you broke the law for jaywalking. Okay, all right, I'm going to go pay it. Oh, hell no, I ain't paying nothing. Because see, when they also give you a citation, which is really a bill of attainder, and bills of attainder violates the state and federal constitution, by the way, they're actually telling you that you injured somebody. That's what they're telling you. And you know how they're telling you? Now, someone can say, well, Bryan, they didn't say that. And this is something else that really pisses me off of people, because this is how stupid people really are a lot. And this is why I always say to people, you must be a new kind of stupid. Communication comes in more than one form. Police writes you a ticket, gives you a ticket. Well, he just told you, indirectly, you injured the state or the city, because it's always supposedly the city of Nevada, the state of Nevada versus so-and-so, or the city of Las Vegas versus so-and-so. What they're telling you is you actually injured somebody. And I'm going to get to that part in a minute. That's called mens res, actus reus, malum res, corpus delicti. I get to those in a minute. I'll break those down. Now, if I injured somebody, and you're probably wondering, well, how is that so? It's very simple. They did not directly say you injured somebody, but when they give you a ticket to pay a fine, paying a fine to pay anything whatsoever, that is called restitution. Restitution is only forced upon anybody if you actually injure somebody. So explain to me, most of this is going over y'all's heads. But a lot of people that I've been talking to and people who've communicated with me on Facebook and on YouTube, they know exactly what I'm talking about. So, to those of you who do not know what I'm talking about, you're probably wondering, well, how is that restitution or how whatever, blah, blah, blah. Very simple. Again, anytime you go to the court and you give them a ticket to pay a fine, what they're actually telling you is you've injured the city. For example, here. That's why it's always the city of Las Vegas versus John Doe, city of Las Vegas versus Jane Doe. They're saying that you injured somebody, so now you got to compensate them some kind of way. Hence, the city of Las Vegas. Well, I didn't do anything to walk across the street. So did I hurt the concrete? Did I miss something? That's why I keep telling people, you have to read all of the historical foundations of the law. Quit just picking up a statute or even so-called law and reading it. Oh, okay, that's the law. Nah, hell no. Like I said before, I'm reading, someone's giving me a piece of paper or give me a law, whatever. Okay, I'm reading that. But see, I want to read all of this below the law. I want to read the historical foundation so that I know if this was even to be valid to begin with. So you have to understand. A lot of things happen in life, a lot of things have been said in life on a perpetual basis, and is believed to be true just because it's been repeated. with no historical research whatsoever. No one has researched a damn thing. Nothing. Nada. Zilch. Zero. I wouldn't care if the United States Supreme Court and every justice that's been on the United States Supreme Court since day one, since 1791, has told me that. I'm going to research it. Just because you say, yeah. And I would require you all to do the same thing with me. We have been lied to so much and on a perpetual level basis by these courts. It's not even you. Wow. Wow. Yeah, we have been, boy. If you only knew. If you only knew. Now, okay, those are valid prohibitions. Now I'm going to jump over to mens rea and actus reus. In order for any actual crime, any actual kind of law to have been broken, mens rea and actus reus has to work. They have to be in combination of each other. Mens rea means that you have the criminal mind, the criminal intent. The intent, that's why, I'll get that in a second. But you have to have the criminal intent to have known actus reus that you actually committed a crime. That's why, for example, and I forgot the court case off the top of my head, but it was in Florida. The Florida court case, which the Supreme Court overturned, by the way. Or they overturned a part what I'm about to talk about. This Florida court case in 2000, I want to say 14 maybe. It wasn't that long ago. They tried, get this. You're going to love this. Yeah. Oh, when this is done, the link is going to be posted, and I'll put above the link, I'll put the court case that I'm referring to right here. So, anyway. They tried to pass a court case, which they did, by the way, that the intent was to be put off on the people. So technically, instead of innocent to proven guilty, you're automatically guilty until you prove yourself innocent. It doesn't work that way in our country. It's the intent. Whoever makes the claim has the burden of proof. That hence is the prosecutor. They literally tried for a while. They did succeed, by the way. Accuse you of something. Okay, now, you accuser, you have to prove that you're right. Yeah. Yep. That's mens rea. The intent. They have to prove that you have the intent to do whatever. So mens rea and actus reus, M-E-N-S, two different words, R-E-A, actus reus, two different words, A-C-T-U-S, R-E-U-S, and malum inse, which also means those are three different words, malum, M-A-L-U-M-I-N-S-E. That means it's an absolute wrong, period. That's pretty much what it means. And then you have the fourth, which is corpus delicti, C-O-R-P-U-S, two different words, D-E-L-I-C-T-I. Corpus delicti means you actually have to have an actual injured party, be it physically, or you damaged them mentally, or you defrauded them, which is also could be mental damage. So, with that said, crimes that fall under that are far more serious than jaywalking or no seatbelt, whatever, like extortion, murder, rape, child molestation, which is the same thing as rape, larceny, bank robbery, hit and run, like in your vehicle, battery, destruction of private property, causing a riot, intimidation, assault, terrorist activities, things like that. Those are actual laws, criminal laws. Everything else is like a civil matter. And again, a civil matter, you're not supposed to be arrested for civil matters. I've got many court cases that prove that, but they do it anyway. Why? Because one, they honestly don't care. Number two, the average person, they don't know this. And even a lot of attorneys, again, they're only going on what they're told without doing any research. You gotta understand something. Someone goes to a police academy, the average police recruit, they're not going to question whether something's right or wrong. That's how my mind works. That's how my mind has always worked. That's why people have told me since I was yay tall, Bryan, you ask too many questions. Or I say, Bryan, you ask some important questions. They'll say like that. people really uncomfortable to answer. And I'm like 10, 12, 13 years old. And I'm asking them, well, why is it uncomfortable to answer? I don't get it. I was a kid. I didn't know at the time. But yeah, I've always told that. Oh, Bryan, you're too analytical. Or Bryan, you ask too many questions. No. What you're really saying is, well, yeah, Bryan's going to be hard to try to BS. And you're right. You are. It is. I've always had an inquisitive mind. I've always questioned everything and everybody. And some people have told me, well, Bryan, you're going to have a hard time in life. No, I've never had a hard time. Nor will I ever will have a hard time. Why? Because I'm being my own man. I will have a hard time in life if I decide to flip over and kiss butt and pretend it doesn't bother me when it does. Then I'm going to have a hard time within myself mental. And that's not going to happen. I'm not going to allow that. I want to keep doing what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, in any fashion that I wish to do it in. And that's the way it's going to be, like it or not. So, getting back to mens rea and actus reus, that's why I always stress this, because this is very important so people can know how to defend themselves in court. They tell you you committed a law, you broke a law, committed a crime. Okay, give me the elements of the so-called law that I violated. What are the elements of it? Well, you jaywalked. What are the elements of jaywalking? Anything you're accused of, there has to be some kind of foundation, some historical facts, some elements to support that whatever you're being claimed of violating, that is actually valid to even enforce. Jaywalking, you can't enforce that. Never could. They just thought about that like I said on here before, those articles, one article titled, "There Are Too Many Unconstitutional Laws," because there are. A lot of those, they can't enforce. It's all about money. And since they collect millions on top of millions, I'm wondering why these cities are broke. Where the hell did all the money go? Who's hoarding all the money? I'm curious of all the jaywalking tickets, all the money they've collected from those, just that long, where's all that money? Our schools still suck. I've said this before until I blew in the face. Our schools still suck. Our roads still suck. We have no jobs here, no manufacturing jobs here. Where's all the money? Oh, and did you know, by the way, and I'll explain this to you later because this is an education also. Are you aware that all the courts in our country, a lot of the fines that they collect are supposed to be contributed to paying down the national debt, by the way? Yeah, that's fact. So someone asked, well, that's fact. How come the debt's constantly increased? Bingo. Where is the money? And I'll say this right now live. That's why I'm always beefing up computer hackers so they can hack into whatever they got to hack into and follow the money. That's where you're going to find your criminals. Oh, and I guarantee you there are some political officials involved. There are some judges involved. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. Guarantee it. And I've said this on here before on my Facebook. I would challenge any attorney and any judge in the courtroom under oath about a lot of stuff that I've said in the past on one condition. If I'm proven to be right, which I will be, you are to relinquish your position effective immediately and to never go back into it again. I bet you won't accept that challenge. Oh, and one of the rules, by the way, you cannot give the audience, which a lot of judges and attorneys love to do, you cannot give the audience any kind of vague, unintelligible, vexatious, illusory, or immaterial evidence. It has to be fact. Like giving yes or no answers to some degree. It cannot be no roundabout answer. It cannot be, well, that's been the norm. No. Yeah, I know. Anything that's been the norm is not proven to be true. Look at all these stuff in history that's being uncovered that's proven to be false. Oh, and let me say this too, because I love this. I don't know if I've said this before here, but I'll say it now. See, people like me, you're going to hear other, like a cop or judge or attorney say, well, you must be one of them sovereign citizens. No, I don't know what a sovereign citizen is. But please, since you do bring it up, show me in any kind of legal dictionary what sovereign citizen actually is, how it's defined. Show me a court case regarding the court case that's regarding, that was about a sovereign citizen in general. Not what they may have said in court, but the term sovereign citizen. Show me that. See, they call you that to try to not only belittle you, but to discredit you. It doesn't work with a lot of us. So no, we're not sovereign citizens. We're just truth seekers. Because the truth has been hidden for too damn long. It needs to be erected. The truth needs to breathe. It needs to come out and just obliterate, annihilate the law. Meaning the false law. Meaning the fake law. Which are really de facto statutes and codes. That's why I do what I do on a consistent basis. Always researching. Constantly. Constantly researching. So, any cop, judge, or attorney, you want to take me up on that challenge? We can have this, baby. We can have that fight. I'm looking forward to it. Just give me a heads up. Give me a week heads up so I can rearrange my life because I go to school full time. I work. So, let me know. Let a brother know. Hit me up. Something. Communicate with me. That's all. You feel me? You all have to start asking a lot of questions and doing some research. So let me read you something. This is by author John. I can't pronounce his last name, so I do apologize. And next time I want to make sure that I know how to pronounce his name before I go on the air. John wow. I'll spell it. Capital Villassenor. And I do apologize for that, John, but what you wrote here was very, very good, very well detailed. Now, the title of it is called Over-Criminalization and Mens Rea Reform, a Primer. I'll read that again. And the title, like I've been saying for the past 4 years, Over-Criminalization. You're trying to overdo something. You're trying to make someone criminal. You're trying to do it over the top. Probably my mouth is a little dry. So over-criminalization and mens rea reform. Mens rea reform needs to be reformed. Mens rea is about intent. The courts are having a saying that, you know what, we're trying to prove intent. Those that we accuse and prosecute, they have to prove that they did not want to make intent. No, I highly disagree with that. Highly disagree. We've already got too many innocent people in prison as it is. The Innocence Project alone has exonerated, I think, close to 1,500 since 1989. Now imagine if they had twice the manpower that they had, and imagine they had started doing that process like in the 1950s. How many innocent people are in prison? A hell of a lot more than 1,600. Personally, if I had to bet my life, there are a few 100,000, like 3,000 to 4,000 innocent people in prison. That also includes being in prison for a victimless crime. And I'll explain a victimless crime later. I can probably cover a little bit of that now. Hold on a second. No, I can't. Ooh, I know it was almost 9 o'clock. Anyway, I'll cover that later. But let me read this to you. Historically, a crime has been understood to require the combination of both act itself, called the actus reus, and awareness that the act was wrong, mens rea. So, which again, mens rea is the intent. In a 1798 case in England, jurist Lord Kenyon wrote that it is a principle of natural justice in how our law that actus rea occurs. The intent and the act must both encourage to constitute the crime. I'll read that again. The intent and the act both must encourage to constitute the crime. So, again, jaywalking. I do this. I always use jaywalking as an example because that's the one that gets abused by cops too much. So, my intent and the act itself. My intention is to walk across the street. Well, because I'm walking across the street. And the act is walking across the street. Well, in order to be criminal, I also have to, and I just told you that, and I will be more than happy to prove more to you if you want. In order for that to be criminal, I have to actually have damaged somebody or someone's personal property. Neither one of those happened. And regardless if you put a so-called jaywalking on the books or not, people are still going to do it regardless. Now, in the event I jaywalk now, I jaywalk in front of an oncoming car and I misjudged it wrong and I caused the car to get to an accident, then you violated the law. Jaywalking or not, the bottom line is you put someone in harm's way. So therefore, yeah, you get a ticket for that. Bottom line is, if I were to walk across the street right now and didn't do any of that, and the cop actually saw me from like 10 yards away, and I didn't even put the cop in danger, but they saw me, they can't give me a ticket because I didn't do anything. I didn't put anyone in criminal harm's way. But again, they violate that all the time. I'll go on. In a now classic 1933 Columbia Law Review article, Harvard professor Francis Bowles Sayre, S-A-Y-R-E, wrote that we are witnessing today a steadily growing stream of offenses punishable without any criminal intent whatsoever. That was in 1933. Imagine all the crap and lies and BS that has been on the books from 1933 till now. And this is why I read scholarly reports and other writings from judges and law professors and so forth, because a lot of them actually tell us the BS and the fraud that's going on, but no one reads stuff like this. No one takes the time to even look for it. I do. So if you come with me, you better know what the hell you're talking about. That's all I got to say. Because you have no idea what I've read. You have, a little bit, but not even close. So I'll continue. Okay, here's another one. It's from the same author. One change from the early 20th century, however, is that today there are many more federal crimes on the books that are silent of intent and that can potentially be prosecuted without regard to the defendant's state of mind. Meaning, once again, even on the federal side, they're making all kinds of BS laws with the intent, proven intent. It's not even there. They're just making up laws so they can generate money off arrest, off prosecutions, and so forth and so on. That's all it's about, is money. So, in closing, I want to close with this, because this is going out to a couple of reporters, one locally or one in LA, about the chokehold that police do. And see, this is one thing I'll get people to learn how to read outside the box. And when you read a so-called statute, know what's really in it. I had to hold this up, sorry. So when you read a statute like this, for example, the chokehold, this is the definition of chokehold for the NRS, the Nevada Revised Statute. Now, I'm going to read it to you. Chokehold. The chokehold means the holding of a person's neck in a manner specifically intended to restrict the flow of oxygen or blood to the person's lungs or brain. The term includes the armbar restraint, the cardiac restraint, and lateral vascular neck restraint. Now, out here, there's a court case going on right now at Las Vegas Metropolitan Cop is being prosecuted for a chokehold. Las Vegas Metropolitan Police saying, no, he didn't use a chokehold, he used an armbar restraint. See, now I'm about to prove to you how stupid a lot of cops are, especially, well, none other than the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police. Or I'm going to prove to you how very narcissistic and sociopathic and flat out liars that they are. A chokehold means the holding of a person's neck in a manner specifically intended to restrict the flow of oxygen or blood to the person's lungs or brain. Metro said, well, they didn't use a chokehold. We used the armbar restraint. But in the same definition of chokehold, it goes on to say the term includes. The fact that they said the word includes the armbar restraint, the cardiac restraint, the lateral vascular neck restraint, is still a chokehold. It's the same freaking thing. That's the point. So don't BS me, man. It's not going to work. And I guarantee you the prosecutor who's prosecuting the case, they're not going to bring what I just told you. They're not going to bring that up. Why? Because they're all in cahoots with each other. And I want to bet anything that this Las Vegas Metropolitan cop is Lapierre or something like that, he is not going to get convicted. It's possible because this has been going on so much that people are getting tired of it. Maybe the jury may go back and say, you know what, we're going to convict anyway, just whatever, because, which they should anyway, because it actually was a chokehold, that they're saying it's not, but it was a chokehold, because in the same definition it says the term includes. It uses the word includes. I mean, what? It's not rocket science. It's reading, writing, and comprehension, like I told you all at the beginning of this. I'm not trying to operate on a human anatomy. I'm not trying to operate on an organ, transplant a brain. That's different. But again, when people want to compare medical with law, that's laughable. PR laugh. That's Eddie Murphy and his pops to use some of that stuff in his skits. Don't tell me that crap like that. So I'm going to look you dead in your eye and I'm going to ask you, why did God give you oxygen? Because oxygen is supposed to be given to people who's not so dumb. I'm just sorry. So, with that said, I'm going to close out. You all, it's hot out there in Las Vegas right now. Drink a lot of water. Hydrate up. Hydrate yourself. Big time, because it's getting hot. Other than that, stay safe. Read the laws. Look me up on Facebook. There's a lot of people that correspond with on Facebook and knows the laws. Wow, they are phenomenal. They are phenomenal people. So read the laws, study them, research them, read the historical foundation of the laws so you know what's going on and you know how to defend yourself and do it righteous. And don't be hesitant about it. Do it with confidence, but do it because you need to learn how to defend yourself in court against any kind of fraud, any kind of crap that's being forced upon you, that's been told to you that's being true, and it's not. It's lies just to steal your money, and stealing your money is stealing your hard-earned labor. So stop it. Learn the law so you can defend yourself. This is Bryan Watkins in Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm out.